Detective Edward Stevens sat at his desk, staring at the wall covered with photographs and newspaper clippings about the case of the missing heiress, Amelia Grayson. A young woman with the world at her feet, Amelia had vanished into thin air 3 days prior, leaving no traces in her wake. The penthouse apartment she called home bore no signs of struggle or forced entry. It was as if she had simply stepped out of existence. Detective Stevens, partnered with the equally tenacious Detective Olivia Morgan, had been assigned to this perplexing case. They had spent countless hours interviewing Amelia's friends, family, staff, and neighbors, yet no one seemed to have a clue about her sudden disappearance. It was a puzzle that seemed to have no solution. Sharing a steaming cup of coffee, Olivia voiced her concern. "Okay, Eddie, we need to figure this out. What's our next move?" Edward, deep in thought, sipped his coffee before finally speaking. Amelia's penthouse apartment was searched thoroughly. The security camera footage showed her entering her apartment alone the night she vanished, but there's no sight of her leaving. We need to review that footage once again. His voice held a note of determination. No matter how impossible it seemed, they were going to find Amelia Grayson and bring her home. This was not just a job for them, it was a promise. A promise to a city that was crying out for answers. A promise to a family that was waiting for their daughter to come home. As they pored over the grainy footage, they knew they were looking for the smallest of clues, anything that could lead them to Amelia. They knew they were against the clock, and every passing second was crucial. "We need to review that footage once again," Edward replied, determination in his voice. As the video played, the room filled with the eerie silence of anticipation. They knew they were close. They could feel it. The answer was there, hidden in plain sight. It was only a matter of time before they found it. They spent hours studying the grainy footage, looking for any abnormalities or suspicious persons. The hum of the projector filled the room as they scrutinized every frame, every corner, every shadow. Suddenly, a subtle anomaly caught their attention. A shadowy figure, barely noticeable, lingered near the entrance. It didn't fit, it moved differently, it was out of place. Eagerly they rewound the footage, their eyes now glued to this mysterious shade. Edward and Olivia held their breath as they applied filters and enhancements, the image slowly taking shape. A gasp echoed in the room as realization dawned on them. The figure bore an uncanny resemblance to Amelia's identical twin sister Isabella. But Isabella had tragically died in a car accident 5 years ago. They had both attended her funeral. "Now it makes sense," Edward muttered, a chill running down his spine. "Isabella faked her death and she's been hiding all these years. But why?" The room fell silent, the mystery deepening with each passing moment. As they investigated further, they found inconsistencies in Amelia's financial transactions. The labyrinth of numbers and codes revealed an unusual pattern. Large sums of money were being transferred to unknown offshore accounts, with Amelia herself as the sender. The detectives, puzzled, contacted Interpol to track the funds, hoping it would lead them to Amelia and her presumed dead sister, Isabella. The trail of digital breadcrumbs led them to a small, secluded island in the Caribbean. Nestled amidst dense foliage was a luxurious mansion invisible to prying eyes. The detectives made their way to the mansion, their nerves on edge. Inside, the mansion was eerily quiet. A meal laid out on the dining table, now cold, suggested a hasty departure. The sisters were nowhere to be found. "Damn, we almost had them," Edward said, frustration seeping through his words. The mansion, the mysterious transactions, the long-lost sister, all pieces of a puzzle that continued to confound them. Olivia sighed. "It seems like they anticipated our arrival." The mansion was empty, a cold dinner left abandoned on the table. It was as if Amelia and Isabella Grayson had evaporated into thin air. Edward and Olivia had chased shadows and echoes across continents, only to find themselves at a dead end. The realization began to sink in. They were always one step behind, always chasing. They had thought they were hunters, but it seemed they were merely pawns in a game they did not fully understand. The case was like a puzzle with missing pieces, an enigma that refused to be unraveled. The acceptance was bitter. They might never find Amelia and Isabella, might never understand the truth behind the vanishing heiress and her long-lost sister. And with that, the case of the vanishing heiress and the mysterious return of her long-lost sister remained unsolved, leaving Edward and Olivia with more questions than answers.